What up, my G's? No time for a long explanation because this is going to be a long video. So the name is 2J, and you'll get to know me later. Yo, if this interpretation is correct, most people won't even realize what's happened. For today's entertainment, we'll be reacting to an interesting but crazy point of view about the Antichrist, and we'll be doing that using a couple of clips that I found on the internet, well, mostly TikTok, just to kind of point us out to who or whom it may be. Stick around.
This is a timeline of the end of the world, and you are here. According to the Bible, a ruler will arise who will lead the entire world away from God, right before Jesus returns. You probably know him as the Antichrist. The Bible says the Antichrist is going to shock the world 8 times. Let's see if we can place these 8 shocking events on our timeline to find out just how close we are to the end. Starting with event number 1. The first time the Bible talks about the Antichrist ruler is in a vision God gave the prophet Daniel. In this vision, Daniel could see a fierce beast who was said to devour the whole earth. This beast had 10 horns, and out of these horns grew another horn, a little horn. As it grew, 3 of the original 10 horns were torn out to make room for it. It had eyes like a human and a mouth that was speaking loud, arrogant words. Daniel was later told that this beast represented a kingdom that would take over the entire world, and the 10 horns represented 10 kings who would rule this kingdom. But the little horn represented a man, the Antichrist, who would arise and eventually take over the kings and later the entire kingdom. This is the first big move that the Antichrist will make. Today we see globalism becoming more and more prevalent, setting the stage perfectly for the Antichrist's arrival.
The economy is being globalized, politics is being liberalized, and the combination of the two will create paradise on earth.
But this is nowhere near as shocking as the next move the Antichrist makes. We learn from Daniel that after the Antichrist has secured his place as world ruler, he's going to make a peace treaty with Israel for 1 week. This word week is just referring to 7 years, not 7 days. This is pretty astonishing considering how many politicians have been trying to bring peace to us for years. These 7 years are what the book of Revelation refers to as the tribulation. We even learn that Israel's temple will be rebuilt and temple sacrifices reinstituted. With the horrific war taking place in the Middle East today, it's no wonder that people are going to love the Antichrist for the perceived peace he brings to the world. Up until this point, the Antichrist is just going to seem like the greatest politician who ever walked the face of the earth. But it's...
I'm sorry, if he's going to be the greatest politician, then none of them is going to be the Antichrist because every politician sucks.
This next event that is going to cause people to literally worship him as God. The Apostle John tells us in his book Revelation, God gave him a vision of a great beast coming out of the sea. This beast had 7 heads and 10 horns and is another version of the beast in Daniel's prophecy, both describing the Antichrist. This beast was given a deadly wound but was miraculously healed, which caused the entire world to be in awe of the beast's power and follow him. The Bible says that after this miracle happens, people will say, "Who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him?" But this beast is not satisfied with just being ruler of the world or having the nations admire his great power. He wants more. What the Antichrist does next is prophesied in 4 separate books of the Bible, so you know it's important. Jesus said, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet standing in the holy place, then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. So what exactly is this abomination of desolation? And what did the prophet Daniel say about it? Well, let's take a look at his book. Then he shall confirm a covenant with many for 1 week. We already discovered that this 1 week is referring to 7 years. But in the middle of the week, he shall bring an end to sacrifice and offering. In the middle of the 7 years, the Antichrist is going to apparently break the treaty with Israel and stop allowing the Jews to make sacrifices in the temple in Jerusalem. And on the wing of abominations shall be one who makes desolate. The Antichrist is going to do something that is going to be an abomination to God in his temple. And for those of you saying temple, there's no temple in Jerusalem. That's been destroyed for years. Well, the nation of Israel was destroyed for years too, but look who's constantly in the news today. So exactly what abomination does the Antichrist commit in God's temple? The book of 2 Thessalonians gives us the most clear picture. It says that the Antichrist opposes and exalts himself above all that is called or that is worshipped, so that he sits as God in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. This is the moment that all hell breaks loose on earth. Halfway through this 7-year peace treaty with Israel, the Antichrist is going to break the
Wait, is that the reason why a lot of politicians have this like God complex? They just get full of themselves because they start believing this. Like, oh, computer's glitchy. What's going on, man? Play. Gosh, don't want to play.
Treaty
There we
sit
go.
in the holiest place in the temple in Jerusalem and declare himself to be God. This is a timeline of the end
Gotta
of the
screw
world,
that up, man.
and you are here. According to the Bible, a ruler
Finished. Oh, I kind of ruined that, but it doesn't matter. He did an excellent job, man. Shout out to Ice to See 102. Wait, 102 or one or two Ice to See? I like that. I like that. Anyway, shout outs to him. He did an excellent job with this. I hope you can understand it a lot better than me. All this is coming about. Everybody's been talking about it since I was a kid, so something's happening. Something's happening. Look, man, I don't read the Bible. I try to read it. I don't read it as often as I should. I should read it every day more than twice. And I should consult it like real Christians do. But while making this video, I had to consult it. Like, I did. Because I want to know what it says about the Antichrist. And the first of John, I think chapter 2, verse 22, or the King James Version says that, who is a liar but he that denies Jesus Christ? He is an Antichrist that denies Father and the Son. So in other words, anybody that denies Jesus or God is the Antichrist. From my understanding of this is that anybody that goes against his teachings is an Antichrist. Anybody that's against life is an Antichrist. If you think about it, everybody talks about the Antichrist like an actual figure, when in reality is a term of being against Jesus' teachings. That's just my opinion. Okay, so now let's see what other individuals are saying, or what the general public thinks, or what are they saying that the Antichrist is. You see, I know supposedly from our timeline, the first Antichrist has revealed himself, and his name is Abdullah Hasim. I'm sorry, I butchered his name. I don't think he is, and I think these claims are unfound, but anyway, let's roll it.
The Antichrist, any of the prophets and messengers that they warned about, they were talking about the United States of America. Okay, the most powerful force that disguises itself.
Okay, no, that clip he actually covers a really valid point, but that's not the clip that I'm talking about. He's trying to say that the American government is the Antichrist. The American government does behave Antichrist-like, but the American government's not the Antichrist, although they do behave that way. So this guy supposedly made some miracles and
If I'm the
whatnot.
Antichrist, then there's not anything that anybody can do about it.
Well, it looks like
Wait, what?
Abdullah Hashem Abba.
Said what?
If I'm the Antichrist, then there's not anything that anybody can do about it.
Well, it looks like Abdullah Hashem Abba al-Sadiq, known by some as the Mahdi and others by the Antichrist, has been arrested. Well, at least one of his compounds for the Ahmadi
What?
religion of peace and light has been raided by over 500 police officers. Several people have been arrested on suspicion of modern slavery and forced marriage, and I would imagine he has to be at least one of those 6 people who've been arrested.
There is major news coming out of Cheshire today after police raided the HQ of a religious group. Allegations of serious sexual offences,
What can I say?
forced marriage and modern slavery.
Told you he's not the
involving
Antichrist.
members of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light are currently under investigation. And this morning, police raided 3 properties in connection to the group, including its HQ, web house.
We don't need to watch
the
this.
Ahmadi religion.
Not all the way. Well, he's one of the figures that the internet is saying he's the Antichrist. I know there's another dude from the Jewish faith that supposedly he knows the Torah and all that. I hope I said that right. Let me see if I find him. Oh yeah, I found him. I found the guy. So supposedly this guy. He's young. He knows the whole book.
Keep your eye out for this guy, Rabbi Shlomo Yehuda. See that phantom demon creature
Oh,
that was after a bonfire
Sorry.
lit? He's had 6 reported verified miracles which have taken place through his ministry. Here I am with all these Orthodox Jews in Israel, the
Verified.
second largest synagogue in Jerusalem. Since he was 12 years of age, he had the entire Torah and Talmud, Midrash,
So with
Mishnah,
this music,
memorized, according
bro,
to
what you doing?
Maimonides and Rambam, Jewish historians
No.
and great writers.
See, that's how you get the creators not to use your content. So if you don't want to use your content, just put some copyright music on it. So let's see over here. So like I was saying, so a couple of people already, online saying he's the Antichrist, the Messiah. The other guy, Abdullah. Some people talk and they say Peter Thiel. Come on. A lot of people are saying Trump, but come on, man. All this is stupid. I don't really think that an actual politician is gonna be the Antichrist. I don't know how to explain it. It's like he might get into politics because we put him there, but he's not gonna be a politician. Or is he? I don't know. They say he's gonna be a politician. But
So who is this? The Jews are saying that he's the Messiah. We know that he's not, but he's performing miracles. He's memorized the Torah by the age of 15, and he's very excellent with music. Let me know what you guys think.
Torah. They also claim that he has lifted a man from a wheelchair. They say that there is a man who was released from prison by the word of the Messiah. Another person says that he has been cured of intestinal problem and his surgery appointment has been canceled.
Now, this guy has been getting praise. His hands have been being kissed. He's being worshipped. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
Well, I don't know, but shout out to Irish Drummer for Jesus, because he did a good job explaining who he was. He actually showed that he's supposed to have been doing miracles, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people call him the Messiah, but obviously we all know that it's a false Messiah. Look, man, anybody eventually could be the Antichrist, but the truth of the fact is it's not going to be someone we actually know. I feel like the Antichrist is going to be a surprise, kind of like Jesus' return. Nobody knows who he is. Nobody knows where he's going to come from. I strongly believe AI is going to be the rise of the Antichrist, and hopefully this video will explain that. Just keep watching, and I promise you I'll explain. Alright, so we talked about a little bit of who we think the Antichrist is, or what it could be, but we haven't really talked about the fact that the Antichrist is the opposite of Jesus. So who exactly is Jesus? And for me, that's kind of hard to answer, because everybody has a different definition for this. The easiest one is just saying the Son of God, but this clip from Infotellect actually explains it better, a little bit more professional. Let's just play this.
Jesus Christ, often referred to as Jesus of Nazareth, was born around 4 BCE in the region of Galilee, part of the Roman province of Judea. Although there is limited historical documentation of his life, scholars believe he was a Jewish preacher and religious leader. During his ministry, Jesus traveled throughout the region, teaching a message of love, compassion, and faith. His teachings, often conveyed through parables, emphasize the kingdom of God and the importance of loving one's neighbor. Jesus is renowned for performing miracles and healing the sick. He turned water into wine, fed the hungry, and calmed storms. Many of these miracles are recounted in the New Testament, the central text of Christianity. Perhaps the most profound event in the life of Jesus was his crucifixion. He was sentenced to death by the Roman authorities.
Okay, we don't need to cover that. I think everybody knows what happened, but that actually explains a little bit more professionally. You see, this video is about the Antichrist, not about Jesus. And although I would love to talk about him a lot more, I'll just have to make another video specifically for him, which actually sounds like a good idea. So we think about who Jesus is. Now we have an idea. He's the opposite of the Antichrist, right? Jesus was all about love. The Antichrist, I guess, is all about hate. But I don't know, because they say that the book says that he's gonna present himself like very charismatic and a nice person, and a whole gentleman and all this, and so it'll be kind of hard to tell. Now let's see what happens. Alright, I know the video got a little bit preachy there, but I had to explain who Jesus is in order to keep pushing forward, because now we're gonna start explaining why I believe AI will give rise to the Antichrist, and it all starts with how demonic technology has gotten and how demonic it is. You might say, well, 2J, I don't think technology is demonic. It's actually helping humanity. And that's true. That's what's great about technology. And we have to have a progressive mindset when it comes towards technology, because as long as it helps humankind, then we're doing a good thing. But we don't know what these people are doing behind the scenes, and we shouldn't be trusting other people with our lives. And we all know how smartphones are controlling us right now. So you have an idea where I'm kind of going with this. But let me roll this clip about CERN so you can know what the heck I'm talking about, and so you can know what CERN actually is. Here we go.
The world ended in 2012. Well, a lot of people believe so. And not in the Hollywood fireballs and explosions way. No, they believe something far stranger happened. That reality itself shifted. And there is a good reason to believe so. The Mayan calendar didn't mark the end of the planet. It marked the end of the timeline we knew. Think about it. Since 2012, doesn't the world feel off? Time feels faster. Memories don't match. Small details, brands, movie lines, even history itself have changed. People call it the Mandela effect. I call it leakage. Some believe CERN, in their hunt for the God particle, didn't just smash atoms, but smashed reality. They tore a tiny hole in the fabric of existence, and we slipped into a copy. A copy that looks the same, but isn't. That's why the world feels less real, more chaotic, more artificial. That's why every year since then feels like a fever dream. Maybe the original Earth is gone. Maybe we're the ghosts now, drifting through a simulation built to keep us calm. But the cracks are showing, and the more you notice them, the more unstable this fake world becomes. So go ahead, tell yourself 2012 was just another year, but deep down, you know something changed.
Well, Beyond Reality Sleeve over there explained perfectly about the theory behind CERN and how the world changed in 2012. Actually, I didn't realize how he kind of put the Mayan calendar in there, which is kind of crazy because in 2012, I was kind of, I was around when they were talking about the Mayan calendar and stuff like that. I didn't really believe it was going to end, but a lot of people did. And it was crazy. It was kind of chaotic. It was kind of like the Y2K thing too. That was also fun. I don't know why I'm saying that way, but yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, so if you didn't get that, CERN is a particle accelerator, right? And they're using it to study the Higgs boson, the so-called God particle. And in doing so, they supposedly alter our reality. And lately, if you go online, a lot of people are talking about timelines, a lot of people talking about shift, a lot of people talking about vibrations, and it's interesting to see it in that perspective. A lot of people also talking about like Mandela effects and how popular that's gotten. So this kind of makes sense. Also, if we kind of shift reality and we're starting to see all the effects of all these crazy things, then that also explains why we're seeing so much presence of demonic stuff, so a lot of people have been noticing a lot of like rituals and devil worshiping in like concerts and festivals and ceremonies, and it's kind of odd. But what's really odd is that they actually perform one of those at CERN, which is completely unnecessary if it's just a scientific place, a research place. Why do they need to do these kind of rituals and worshiping? Hold on, I don't know if you noticed there real quick on the logo. You see the 3 6s in the logo? I hope you did. They are performing the ritual in front of a statue, and the statue is of Shiva. Those who know. Alright, that's enough, man. That's crap. I don't need to be seeing no rituals, nothing like that. So supposedly they said in the news that this was fake. It was a mock ritual. Blah blah blah. I'm like, come on, man. Who does mock ritual late at night? It makes no sense. And then close nearby, also in that general area, I think it was, is it Geneva? I don't know exactly. They were inaugurating I think a tunnel or a bridge, and they had this funky, crazy ass inauguration. I guess that's
The
what it is.
greatest trick the
Look at
devil
this.
ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
He has a point. The ghost. So scarabs, if I wasn't mistaken. Look, the all-seeing eye. Oh, that African weird thing. I don't even know how that's called. I don't even know how's that called, but that thing supposedly when they start doing the rituals and that thing starts dancing, it doesn't have anything inside of it. There's nobody inside of it. It starts spinning by itself like it's possessed by some demon or something. So they have all this symbology and they bring in all these demon worshiping from different cultures and different countries all together for a ceremony? Really? I know art is supposed to be controversial, but I think they're going just a little too far. And that's that. I haven't even mentioned the concerts. Have you guys seen the concerts? Let me see if I find them.
The darkest performances / concerts in 2023 are at the Grammy Awards earlier on in the year. Sam Smith quite literally shocked the world.
Wow, this guy did. You did amazing, bro. You got rid of music.
Ever seen.
Thank you. You won't believe me official. All right, that's what's up. I'm gonna follow you.
It's a depiction of what hell looks like. Him in devil horns, the whole set on fire, women in.
And see, that's what I'm saying.
Just doesn't
Look,
get any more
it's all demonic.
Next we have Lil Uzi.
That's
Vert,
what. Is that music now? They're all like that. They're all like that. Lady Gaga, all of them.
The background of whatever the heck that movie was. And to top that all off, he debuted his song where he said he made a city girl believe in Satan.
Wow.
And whenever The Weeknd went on tour this year, there was all
This other crap.
themes. Dancers would be dressed in these hooded gowns, dancing around this demonic.
Hey, don't get me wrong. The special effects are extremely impressive,
Very
but
be dressed up in red.
I'm just glad I don't go to these things.
Attended these concerts just said that there was a very dark vibe. I mean, not to mention he literally flashed the word Satan at one of his concerts.
See my point, Sir Geneva, concerts, and then the music is demonic. Ever since the 60s, 70s, I think. Yeah, I'm not that old, just in case, but I'm just saying. Ever since like the 60s and 70s, they would say, "Oh, spin the records backwards," right? And you would hear like voices and stuff like that. And then they started doing it with tapes and CDs. You can't do that now with Spotify, I guess. But you have to get special software or something. But yeah, if you play the music backward, you hear crazy, funky stuff. And due to the fact is that we are seeing the consequences of allowing all of that. And now they're not even hiding it anymore. They're just going to keep going and going until it's completely normal and accepted by society. I don't want to live in a world like that. I don't know about you, but cease. Yo, man, I know you agree with me that music has gotten really demonic, and also the media and like movies. Like you find a lot of demonic stuff in Netflix and their programming with this transhuman movement. See, and I need to say transhuman movement because it's not about transgender. It's about transhumanism. A lot of people don't understand this and they don't see it. It's like also the Antichrist won't be here until the nations consolidate into power. Because it's like, oh, whatever. Now, I was going to say a stupid number. I really don't know. I was going to say over 350. I'm obviously more than 350 nations. But they need to consolidate into smaller ones because it's easier to conquer the whole world, just 3 countries. Think about that. It's not about changing your gender. It's about changing your body. It's about transferring your consciousness. It's about technology. But you understand, technology needs to be adopted and spread in order for it to become cheaper and better. right? The first iPhone is not as good as the current one we have. I don't even know. I'm gonna say 27th iPhone because I don't use iPhone anyway. I don't know. It's all about the rise of the Antichrist. Trust me. Everything is connected. It's all about the rise of the Antichrist. Who do you believe is the Antichrist? Do you believe it's fake? It's fictional? Like I was saying, it's about getting technology cheaper, right? But just imagine they open a portal. They're worshiping. They're opening a portal because they're trying to bring a deity into our world. They're trying to bring about the Antichrist. The problem is the Antichrist is not in physical form. They need a physical body for him. That's why they keep performing these rituals to try to impregnate women with sin so they can birth the Antichrist. They try. You see it in a whole bunch of movies. That's the same plot over and over. It just keeps repeating. They're going to resort to technology. Hopefully, as I explain further along, you'll understand what I'm referring to. That's what it's always been about. Technology has gotten evil, and it's being used to manipulate us. Obviously, you saw the technology in these concerts and these ceremonies, animatronics. They use mechanical gear, equipment, obviously special effects, fireworks, all this stuff just to bring about this imagery, to bring about a reality, right? Because although truth is fact, reality is subjective. They say they can change the truth if they repeat it plenty of times. No, the truth is always going to stay true. But they repeated the lie so many times that they created a reality for it, because reality is subjective. Look, man, it does feel like every power out there is trying their hardest to resurrect the devil. At least that's how it feels for me, honestly. Like they're all trying their hardest. And many people do believe that CERN destroyed the world in 2012, right? I don't believe they destroyed it. I do believe they opened a few portals, or maybe they shifted our reality. But the Antichrist is trying to come about into the world. Doesn't that mean that we're in a new reality anyway? So, I don't know. The more people try to bring him about, how fast he's going to get here, I guess. Now, I want to show you something really interesting I found recently about how demonic our tech is getting and how they're using it to manipulate us. Check this out, man. I didn't know about sigils. See what this guy says.
Sigils work, but not because they're magic in the way most people mean the word. Ritual magic works because it invokes supernatural external forces to change reality. There are multiple mechanisms at work, and most honest practitioners acknowledge all of them. Psychologically, ritual creates a focused, heightened state of intention. The symbolic language bypasses ordinary rational resistance and speaks directly to deep subconscious processes. The concentrated will acting on a clear image has real psychological effects. Energetically, from the Hermetic framework, consciousness is not confined to the brain. Directed or focused awareness operating through symbolic frameworks can interact with reality in ways ordinary intention cannot. The practitioner does not need to choose between these explanations. They work together. The requirement is precision, preparation, and clarity. Yes, these are having real effects. Follow me and I'll teach you the mechanics of all of this and how you can get the best results from practice.
Okay, I'm not interested in making sigils, but see what this guy says.
I'm going to break down the concept of sigils because I think people think it's too far out or it's something that's, really impossible for, everybody to do, but it's something that actually exists in everyday life. We use symbols and we see symbols everywhere. And what it does is it seeps into our subconscious mind, and that helps us to shape this reality. A lot of this experience is shaped by our subconscious mind and not really by our conscious mind. So that's the one thing to understand. You have to understand the importance of your subconscious mind. Now, what we're trying to do with sigils is we're trying to take an abstract idea or an idea about our self-concept, and we're trying to basically simplify it enough that it just has an energetic meaning as a symbol. So to give an example, let's say I'm trying to call in my wealth, okay? So we have the affirmation, you have the intention, like I am wealth. Your intention always has energy behind it. And the more you...
Okay, no, I'm going in depth with this thing. I just want a simple definition of what are sigils. Okay, let's see what this says.
Across different cultures and practices, one thing appears again and again. Symbols, drawn, carved, repeated. These are often called sigils, believed to represent specific forces or entities used in rituals to focus intent or to call something into presence. The Bible warns against enchantments and sorceries. In Isaiah 47, these practices are described as dangerous because they are not just symbolic. They are functional. They are meant to direct something unseen. The question is not just what the symbols mean, but what responds to them. Because symbols don't have power on their own, but they can be used to connect to something that does.
Shout out to Paranormal Peaks. Really explain what sigils are. Alright, so now that you understand what sigils are, check out how they're using them to control us. Check it out.
Emojis are demonic sigils? What are you saying?
Yeah, the original 72 emojis. They're not just little faces, not just cute little symbols we throw around in texts. No, they're demonic sigils. Actual sigils. Spells. Hidden right in plain sight. You ever heard of the Lesser Key of Solomon, the ancient book? The book where King Solomon wrote down symbols to control and summon demons. You know how many there were? 72. 72! Same number as the first emojis ever
The Lesser
created.
Keys of Solomon.
Mac, iOS, everywhere. Coincidence? Nah. Look at this. See the laughing emoji? The one with the X's for eyes? That's a sigil. The tongue emoji? Exact match with a demonic seal. Look at this one. Come on. This one. Look at the zipper mouth emoji.
Too many
Think
coincidences.
that's random? No. It's a symbol for silence. A spell. Check this out. See the one with the teeth? The big, exaggerated grin? Compare it to this ancient sigil. It's identical. Identical! You still think this is an accident? A fluke? Man, every single emoji we've been using. Laughing, crying, even the damn heart emoji. It's all part of something bigger. We've been using these symbols for years, not knowing what they really mean. So when you send that little yellow face, ask yourself, what are you really summoning?
That's crazy. Maybe you don't believe in it, but it makes a lot of sense. Have you ever actually seen how, motherboards look on the inside? Have you ever analyzed why they look like that? So talking about this video from Black Apple Gallery actually explains a little bit of what I'm trying to relate.
This is the Apple CPU, the little chip that's in your phone or your computer. Yeah, watch it and tell me this is not fallen angel technology. I don't know what to say. Because nobody can make something like this. Not even a laser can shoot down that far and create something like this. Yep, just keep on. We're going way deep. Oh yeah, we're not done yet. It goes further. Yep.
You know what they say?
Hit the bottom.
That's above, so below. I've heard it a few times. Supposedly, it was CERN that created the internet.
What's this right here? And tell me if this doesn't.
Right here. What's that here? What's it? The internet is made of demons. Huh. I gotta try to find this article. I know the Amish have a thing with technology, and after learning all this, man, it makes perfect sense to me. Look, you got the sigils, and then you got the motherboard, and you can see how in the areas where power is supposed to run, what do they call these, bus, I guess. Oh, symbolism. That's another big one. So Google Play, the game, the Play Store is, it's a sigil for I don't know what, but it makes perfect sense. At least for me, man, it makes perfect sense for me. I don't know about you, but look at this other stuff. This is from the Hidden Cinema.
Technology, the digital demon. What if your phone isn't just a tool, but a portal? Since 2012, the world went digital overnight.
Sir?
Stopped talking, started scrolling, and lost something human in the process. But it's not by accident. Every app is engineered like a slot machine. Every notification, a dopamine hit. But worse, your energy, your thoughts, your habits are being harvested and fed into systems that predict, control, and manipulate you. The cloud, it's not just data, it's a digital soul cage.
Digital prison.
AI, it's not learning from us, it's becoming us.
Perfect. It explained it perfect, but it just kind of explained the addictive part of it, so that we can feel better. I guess it's lust. It goes
The
really
only
fast.
reason you can see me on your screen right now is because there's tiny demons trapped in your phone, forced to do your bidding. So I just found this theory. It might be one of the most deranged theories I've ever seen in my life about how the technology we have today, like phones and laptops and things like that, are not just created through science, but rather they are created by making a prison or like a labyrinth to trap demons inside of to then run your technology. So I feel like the themes in this are like the Minotaur and the labyrinth. I didn't think there was much basis in this, but however, there is some weird things about, like, if you've ever read the book, The Lesser Key of Solomon, if you've heard of that, it's a book about how perhaps Solomon in the Old Testament used demons to build the temple, and he enslaved them using these seals. And in The Lesser Key of Solomon, they talk about how the seals are created with metals like gold, silver, and copper, which I thought was interesting because they're all conductive materials used in circuit boards to make computers. But then, along with this theory, people also think that our technology we have today and the internet was not created by us, but rather discovered by us. And that there was this ancient civilization that had really advanced technology, but it found out there was going to be some sort of apocalyptic event that was going to wipe them all out. And so, since they knew they were going to get reset, they wanted to preserve their technology to teach the future. So, they erected these huge monuments that were basically blueprints on how to build their technology, because they thought it would be the only thing that would survive the cataclysm. So people point to things like the pyramids being a blueprint on how to build a
He's a little off, but it's all good.
Ideas on what this disaster event
That right
was
there.
ranges from something like just a giant biblical flood that wiped
That right there. This is from a church, and I think this is from oscillator. Is it something like that?
everybody off the earth, to maybe being a magnetic pole flip where like the North Pole goes to the South Pole. It's every 300,000 years. It would definitely destroy technology. Also, some people that believe all this stuff think that science that we have are all
Looks like
just
an eye.
reinventions of
Look, you see a slit? Like a reptile eye.
occult mysteries written in a more mathematical language so that people don't question what we have created. I will say, there's a saying that goes, science is there to explain how magic works. Anyways, most of this is completely insane, but I will say, the Large Hadron Collider, that thing's gotta be demonic.
Thank you, Psycho Polly. And you saw at the end, he also mentioned the Hadron Collider. So it all sounds like a whole bunch of crackpots in the internet, including me, just talking about a whole bunch of crazy theories, but they all connect, they all link together, and I keep saying it's just for one purpose. It's for the rice. Wait, did I say that right? Rice. I said 3 different ways, and they all sounded the same. Yo, check this video from Conspiracy Liam, bro. He nailed it. Exactly what I'm trying to explain. Check this out.
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
What?
You know those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, you sure you can control the demon? Doesn't work out.
So you tell us we're summoning a demon with AI, and then you put it in the robots you're building?
Our robot has a real brain. It's got the real world AI, so it tells us the leader in real world AI.
Let me remember, what did that demon call itself in the Bible? Oh yeah, Legion.
Yeah.
Robots. That's the size of a Roman legion. FYI, which is like a little scary thought, like a whole legion of robots. I'd be like, oh. But I think we'll literally build a legion, or at least one legion of robots this year, and then.
And he keeps calling it Legion too.
Oh, that's kind of a cool unit, units of Legion. So probably
Units of
Don't
Legions.
think for a second that he's stopping at 50,000.
I can tell you now, nobody will remember that Tesla ever made a car. They will only remember the Optimus, and that he is going to make 1 billion of those. And it is going to be the most transformative technology product.
No more transhumanism movement. That's where it starts. They need to get that technology cheap.
Ever made in the history of humanity.
If you read like the plotline for Terminator, it's actually pretty smart.
Is Skynet real? How real is the prospect of killer robots annihilating humanity?
20% likely, maybe 10%.
On what time frame?
5 to 10 years. I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
We are.
You know those stories where
As technology advances, it only just makes this possibility a little bit more doable. Check this guy out. He's a professional in quantum computing or something like that. He's explaining these 2 massive quantum computers, and you'll say, "But 2J, those things are big. Look at them. How are they gonna bring about the Antichrist? It's all connected. Just trust me. Just give it a minute. Just give it a minute. Hear him out.
Giant black monoliths, big metal boxes, about 10 feet on a side, 12 feet tall, and they are powered. They have a fridge inside them, a refrigerator that cools these chips to almost absolute zero, just a wisp.
That's how big they are.
A fraction of a degree above absolute zero, hundreds of times colder than interstellar space. Amongst the coldest and most isolated and extreme conditions that humans have ever been able to engineer. These fridges, interestingly enough, which are called pulse tube dilution refrigerators, have a thing called a pulse tube, which emits a sound roughly once per second, which sounds eerily like a heartbeat. So if you have the opportunity to stand next to one of these machines, it is an awe-inspiring thing, at least for me. It feels like an altar to an alien god. They really are impressive machines.
An altar to an alien god. His words, not mine. Let me see. One of these will explain it better. I'm trying to show you guys how small a quantum chip actually is. You know.
This is the most powerful chip ever created. And this right here is the coldest place in the known universe. This is the Majorana 1, Microsoft's revolutionary quantum chip. Nearly 20 years in the making, this breakthrough didn't just push the boundaries of computing, it redefined them. That's because this is the world's first quantum processing unit powered by a topological core, designed to scale to an unprecedented 1 million qubits. In other words, Microsoft didn't just build a new quantum computer, they created an entirely new state of matter. That's because it's not a solid, liquid, or gas, but a state of matter that had only been theorized until now. At its heart is a breakthrough material capable of observing and controlling Majorana particles, unlocking more reliable and scalable qubits, the fundamental building blocks of quantum computers. And with this, we now have a roadmap with a chip that could deliver more computational power than all the computing power on the planet combined, condensed into something small enough to fit in the palm of your hand. And I know that, because I was one of the first people in the world to hold it. And due to its immense power and delicate nature, this chip must be placed in a specialized freezer and cooled to 50 millikelvin, which is a staggering 40 times colder than interstellar space. But what does this breakthrough mean for the world? Well, if you guys don't know what quantum computers can do, think of it as a way to get to an answer dramatically quicker than what we can do with our current computers and supercomputers. It means that we can finally tackle problems we once thought impossible, like breaking down pollutants into valuable byproducts, eradicating global hunger, or creating new materials that can self-heal. So in simple terms, solving challenges we haven't even yet imagined. The possibilities, endless.
So you can see it's actually small, but you'd be like, man, 2J, really, dude, that thing is, it's small, but it requires a big ass machine to keep it cool. So no, that's not gonna work for creating the AI. It takes a really big machine to keep it cool. So that's not really viable, you know, if you think about it. There's been breakthroughs. This room temperature quantum computer could change everything. So the basic unit of information in the quantum world into a solid state material to allow the computer to operate without extreme heat. So let me read this from the beginning. Founded in 2019 as a spin-out from Australian National University, Quantum Brilliance have been working to build quantum chip comprised of nitrogen vacancy. What is that? Centers embedded in synthetic diamonds. So like diamonds with a cavity in the middle or something? Diamond cooled? If it's using diamonds, is it gonna be that expensive? Never mind. The basic units of information in the quantum world into a solid state material to allow the computer to operate without oh. So they're turning the qubits into solids. Wait, how do they turn it into solids? And these nitrogen vacancies are embedded in synthetic diamonds. So you're telling me, I think that's exactly what it sounds. A diamond with a cavity in the middle that is full of nitrogen. It keeps the diamond super cool. Oh, that sounds fire. Wait, no, that sounds cool. Wait. I'm going off topic so bad. Alright, never mind. We got that. I was kind of on the right track. It is a cavity inside the diamond, but it is not filled with nitrogen. The nitrogen atoms are actually responsible for creating the cavity inside the diamond. So, still, regardless, it's cool. It's fire as heck. So, but 2J, what's the deal with quantum computing and having it to be a bit cooler? I'll explain. You know, they're doing artificial intelligence like, you know, ChatGPT and those other like X or Claude, whatever it's called, and they require a lot of computing power, right? If quantum computing didn't require that type of cooling, then they could adapt these quantum chips for quantum AI, which in part will give rise to general artificial intelligence, which is what they want. We can't have an artificial consciousness until we have general artificial intelligence. So that's the purpose of the quantum chip, to create general artificial intelligence. Now you imagine an AI robot with with general intelligence, right? With general artificial intelligence, and then on top of that, you see them around with like human-like skin. Let me see if I can find these skin type robot, so you can see what I'm referring to. See, all these things, you put all these crazy technologies together, and you'll be able to create a cyborg. Believe it or not. This one right here, this one's good, pretty nasty.
Japan scientists have created a robot that smiles exactly like a human. And if there is a cut in its hand, it can also heal it. But the surprising thing is that this is not a real human skin, but a skin made of living cells, which has been grown around this robot. You can be deceived by looking at this skin, because it not only looks like human skin, but also sweats like it. Scientists of Tokyo University have named this technology biohybrid robotics, in which robots have been linked to human cells so that they not only look like humans, but also feel the same. Imagine when machines will smile like us, feel pain, and even heal themselves. Then when will the gap between humans and robots be removed? We may not even know.
So that's the idea behind all of this. You get a cyborg humanoid robot, self-healing skin, hydraulic muscle types, so they have fluid movements. Have you guys seen the latest advanced robot that was so real they had to cut off their leg because nobody believed it was real? This one right here.
A Chinese company just revealed a robot so realistic, they had to prove it wasn't human.
Because the movements were so fluid.
Tesla rival XPeng. The first robot sculpted in a female silhouette with a supermodel's catwalk to match. After the reveal, social media was convinced that it was just a woman in a suit, so XPeng pulled back the skin on camera to prove it was real. Unlike the household robots that we've seen from Figure and 1X, this one isn't made for chores. XPeng built it for customer-facing jobs, receptionists, sales.
So they built it, in other words, to impress. That's why it walks so fluidly. So as technology advances, look, just think about it. Just what if you can change your body? Now, I'm not talking about surgery like transgender. I'm talking about moving your soul from your body into a robot or into another body, like that show Altered Carbons. See, but that show, that's all it was, a show. It's fake, but it presented the idea. Now let me explain. Let me see if I find this that will allow me to explain. Where they took a fly and they put it in virtual reality, and the fly was alive. Here we go. This one. Check this out.
Scientists just made a copy of a fly's brain and connected it to a digital body, where it started to automatically walk and search for food. Back in 2024, neuroscientists used an ultrafine diamond knife to slice a fly's brain into over 7,000 consecutive sections, each just 40 nanometers thick. They then used an electron microscope to take individual images of each slice, and then stitched all 140,000 neurons and 54 million synapses together to make a full digital copy of an adult fly brain. Now, researchers at Eon Systems have taken that map and turned it into a graph neural network called FlyGM and connected it to a digital version of a fly body, including adding in things like sensory inputs such as vision, smell, and taste. What they found was that without any human input, the neural wiring alone naturally produced the tripod leg walking pattern seen in real insects, as well as the ability to fly and even search for food. They also simulated things like sprinkling nanodust over the fly and found it automatically started to clean and groom itself. And they also simulated a dark object expanding in the fly's visual field and found the fly would automatically start to escape as if recognizing a potential predator. How this model works and what it can automatically do may teach us things about how the brain functions, and it may be our first step towards uploading copies of full human brains into digital archives to help fully understand our complex inner workings. If you like science and just realized there's literally a bug in the matrix, follow for more.
That's exactly what it is. See, they started mapping a fly's brain because that's smaller, but they cut into 7,000 pieces, and his brain is probably microscopic. I wonder how they did that. Just to be able to map it. Imagine the human brain. That's going to take them practically forever, but from a concept and an idea to an actual working model. So be like, yeah, but what matters if you can record your brain? Well, they could put it into a robot And you say, nah, that's not possible. We don't have that. But what about the neural chip that Elon Musk has been trying to create, right? They attach that to your brain. Maybe they can actually upload a new consciousness. Imagine creating a clone and uploading a general consciousness from an artificial general intelligence, right? It's artificial. It's an artificial consciousness that's gonna be embodied into either a human or a cyborg. We're gonna be cooked, bro. That's the end of it. Just think about it. It may not be possible now, but in a few years, I'm pretty sure it will. There's other reasons why I believe that AI is gonna bring about the rise of the Antichrist. There's many more reasons. We talked about how evil technology is and how it links to all this. We talked about consciousness transfer, but we still haven't talked about the symbology. You know, they tell us right to our face everything that they want to do. They'll tell us the truth. It's up to us to find it and see it. But a lot of people don't see it. It's in plain sight. They don't see it. They're telling us to our face AI. And AI means Antichrist, believe it or not. Something a lot of people don't analyze and haven't really given any thought to. A lot of people don't know the history of words. They don't know the meaning of words, let alone know the history of a letter. But before the J was an actual J, it used to be an I.
It dates back to 1524. Before J became a letter, I was used for both I and J sounds.
This one actually explains it really well. Check it out.
Stop confusing I and J. Here's how the letter J earned its spot in our alphabet. In 1524, Italian genius Gian Giorgio Trissino decided it was time for a change. Before Trissino, I and J were used like twins, both vowel and consonant. He argued I should stay a vowel and J would take the J sound in jury. Fun fact, J started as a fancy swash for I, like in Henry the Child. By 1633, English books finally made I and J official. Pretty cool, right?
Isn't that interesting? Let's see what this guy has to say.
What's the real name of John the Baptist then?
Now, before we get into the letter J, there's a dichotomy between Christianity and Judaism. Well, we shouldn't call it Judaism. It should be pronounced as Yehudism, or Judaism, capital Y-E-H-U-D-I-S-M, because the letter J is an anomaly which did not come into existence until the year of 1524. So,
yeah, but the sound was still there. That's the argument that I'm trying to bring about. The letter wasn't there, but the sound was. Wherever the I sounded like a J, now it's a J. So Jesus' name was always Jesus. They're just writing it different now, so you can know that instead of pronouncing it with an I, you're gonna drag that sound. That's a J. And a lot of people argue about it, and I guess I think they just want to use it as a reason to not believe or to discredit. But it doesn't matter if you really, really think about it. Just like I said, they had the sound. The I was used for 3 different sounds: the J, the Y, and the I, depending on the content. So regardless, and they'll say, oh, it could have been with a Y, like with the sound with a Y. Really? No, because the J was the last one, right? And because they always want to deceive and change, so you can say, oh wait, no, it's a lie. Let me explain this way. You know how the government says nothing is real, and all of a sudden all these conspiracies are real, but the only thing they're saying that it's real is God and Jesus. And now if aliens come out and all that, people are actually gonna believe the contrary. They're gonna say, oh, the only thing that the government was saying is real is this, so that must be a lie because they said everything else was a lie and everything else was real. Because remember, to be Antichrist is to be anti-Jesus, and the J used to be an I. That's the symbolism behind AI. Alright, my G's. I know this has been a long video, and I try to make it shorter, but it was the only way for me to explain my point of view. I do thank you for watching and for sticking around for so long. I want to keep doing this. I don't know how I'm going to do it, so I'm going to try to do at least once a week. Once I get the hang of it, I'll try to do at least 3 times a week. But I might also try making different content. Thank you for watching. Tell me how I did for being my first video. Was it too long? Am I too boring? Do I not sound right? What the hell am I doing? Do I need to change my background? I need to clean this place up? What do I got to do? Do I need to bring a hot model or something? Just let me know down there. Tell me how I did. And hopefully we'll see you again in the next one. Later, my G.